Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 2022 Larned KS Show. It's going to just go through several things that were shown at the show, getting the trailer ready. It's a crisp morning here in October in southwest Kansas. It's 40 degrees and I'm just untarping the engine. It's set here overnight, so I always tarp them at night, just keeps the dew off of them. And it's going to be running my 5-horse round rod Galloway. It's 1910. It's a nice running engine. It's the one I had at Pawnee this year, so it's going to be the one I'm running here. It's just a nice all-day runner engine. I'm doing a little cleanup here. These engines throw grease and oil everywhere, and I hadn't wiped it down since Pawnee, so just taking some mild citrus cleaner and wiping the engine down. This whole process took about an hour before I was ready to start it. Just several things to check over. This Larned show is a very small show, but I really enjoy the small shows. They're just fun to go to, and a lot of people there that are appreciative of you showing and coming to the show. So I really like the small shows. Cleaning up the other side of the engine there, and at the same point in time here, just going around the engine looking for anything that's loose or hopefully not missing, but you never know, bouncing down the highway and stuff. So nothing stands out yet. Everything looks pretty normal. Just cleaning the engine up here in the trailer. Like I said, it throws grease and oil all over the place, so just kind of wiping everything down. And anyway, got my tools there, my tote that's got all my grease and oil and all that stuff, filling up the engine oiler there for the cylinder oil. Pretty stiff oil at 40 degrees, but it'll warm up. And taking the grease cups off there and checking for grease in the main bearings, and the rod greaser actually needs some grease in it, so I did that. And still at the same time just checking the engine over as I'm cleaning it up and working on it, getting it ready to run. Those grease cups only need filled once per show. You just turn them, if you shut it off and go somewhere, you just come back, turn them about a quarter turn, and there's plenty of grease in the bearings. So I tend to over grease and over oil, but grease and oil is very cheap compared to what it takes to do bearings again. I found a couple of loose screws there on the base of the gas tank. Tightened those down, put gas in here. This engine will burn about 5 gallons of gas in a day at a show, just idling. So not very efficient, but that's the way it was 112 years ago. So I run 87 octane gas in it. It's a little hot, but the gas during that time was about 50 octane. So if I was working this engine, I would cut it with some kerosene or something. Took a level there and checked for level. These engines want to be level, and it's just important to level the trailer. I block the trailer up too so it doesn't bounce, and putting a little water in here. It's about 5 gallons to fill that water hopper. That hopper's purpose is to cool the engine. It's not going to get real hot today, but I always put water in them. I don't like running them dry. Some people do, but I don't. So I'm going to be going around the engine, oiling everything, all the governor linkage, make sure that it's not stuck. Those valves on the front of the engine, the intake and exhaust valve, they only get oil from this oil can. So very important to come through and oil any moving parts, any linkages or anything like that before you try to start it. It's very important to do, and it also gets you up and close to parts of the engine and just checking for pins and anything that could bind up. Taking my jacket off now, not because I'm hot, but because it's just safety. I don't start these engines without taking my jacket off. I don't start them with long sleeves or anything like that. They're big and slow, but they are very powerful and they can hurt you pretty bad. So taking off one of the straps there. I do keep this engine strapped down on this trailer because it will bounce that cart. It's very powerful when it fires, and so I just do that. So open the valve up there on the drain of the gas, just a little gas flush out there. Turn the needle on the front, roll it over once with no ignition, pass compression, turn the ignition on, go ahead and roll it around here, back up to compression, and then bounce it over one time, and look at that, took off and run. Anvil shoot. It's exactly what it sounds like. They shoot an anvil up in the air about 85 feet with a 1 pound shaped black powder charge. There's an anvil on the ground that has a recessed milled area out where the charge sets. Another one sets on top of that and it shoots it up in the air. There's actually competitions on this for accuracy of the shape charge and everything. So it's quite impressive. Let's watch the video and see what they do.
Tractor number 2, here comes a 1955 Ford. That's a model 800, owned and driven by Ron Van Cleaver right here in Larned. Ron's a member of the board out here at the Santa Fe Trail Center. Good morning, Ron. Tractor number 3 coming down the track. This is a 1954 McCormick Farmall. That's a 400 diesel, and that's owned and operated by Richard Wolf right here in Larned. That tractor starts on a gas motor and then runs on diesel, has a propane amplifier, power steering. It also has an F11 farmhand loader. That loader has an 18-foot reach, Richard tells me. Good morning, Richard. Quite a story on this next tractor. This is entry number 4. This is a 1942 Ford Model 2N. That's owned by Kevin Reese right here in Larned. In 1942, Ford designed a new tractor during World War II, calling it the Ford 2N. The 2N had some component changes due to wartime shortages. When this tractor was new, there was no battery, no alternator, and it ran on steel tires because you couldn't get rubber tires back then. This tractor is being driven this morning by Jim Forrest. Jim's dad bought this very tractor brand new in 1942. Got another Ford making its way down. This is entry number 5. This is a 1947 8N Ford tractor. That's owned by Melvin Murphy Jr. right here in Larned. Melvin purchased this Ford tractor at Larry Carr's sale a few years ago. Melvin started driving a 1947 Ford tractor at the age of 5, pulled a trailer with silage for his dad, forked silage into the cattle bunks. Melvin knows his way around a Ford tractor. Up next is a 1941 Minneapolis Moline. This is a model ZTU. This tractor came in second, I believe, in the slowest tractor race yesterday, and you can see why. It's owned by Gabe Wolf of Radium. This also is a wartime production model in beautiful unrestored condition. That's being followed up by another Minneapolis Moline. This is a 1944 ZTS, also owned by Gabe Wolf of Radium. And another beautiful Minneapolis tractor. That's being followed up by tractor number 8. This is a 1937. This is a Minneapolis Moline Twin City tractor. It's a KTA model, owned by Aaron and Gabe Wolf of Radium. It's one of very few KTAs painted in the Prairie Gold paint scheme, and that is all original paint from 1937. Tractor number 9 is a 1949 Minneapolis Moline. This is a UTU, owned by Gabe Wolf of Radium. Expertly driven by Mr. Delaney today. Tractor number 11, this is a 1959 Alice Chalmers D17, also owned by Aaron and Gabe Wolf. This was bought new in 1959 by Aaron's granddad. This is also all original paint on that 1959 Alice Chalmers D17. That's being followed up by a 1951. Nope, that's not right, is it? That's tractor 12. That's a 1957 Minneapolis Moline Model 335, owned by Gary Ansberry of right here in Larned. This tractor's gone through 4 generations of that family, and it's a beautiful restored tractor on that Model 335. Up next is a 1940 Case. This is a Model LA. That's owned by Mike and Lisa Burdett of right here in Larned, driven this morning by Jim Prochner. That tractor was sold in Kinsley in 1940 at Fox Implement. It was purchased in 1994 by Roth Equipment here in Larned and restored for their 50th anniversary. And then it was purchased by Larry and Marlene Carr. They wanted it to stay in Larned. And then Mike and Lisa Burdette purchased it to keep it right here after Larry's passing. This is also our 2022 Best in Show. Good morning, Jim. Entry 15, here's a 1917 Case. This is a 75 horsepower traction, steam traction engine. Not a tractor. Owned by Dick Friedman. And this is the tractor that you'll be able to see here in just a little bit performing the plowing demonstration.
The sawmill was powered by a Frick steam traction engine. Very interesting aspect in this video clip is a clicking sound you hear when the governor has shut the steam off to the engine because it's oversped and the sawmill is disengaged and not needing a load. That clicking is not a rod loose or a part about ready to fall off or anything. It's just the valve body is floating because there isn't any steam pressure against it. There's actually a vacuum. So it's a very distinct sound. It picks back up when the governor kicks back on. View inside the sod house. Dirt floor, very basic construction, and just a real basic type existence in this type of house.
On a 57 Ford 640.
Blacksmithing display at the show. I think those two pistons there in the middle of the screen are 35 horse Superior pistons. Pretty big pistons. .75 horse case, pulling an 8 bottom plow here. No audio on this clip. I'm still figuring out a new camera, so bear with me. But that plow is about 10 inches in the ground, and it just has no problem pulling that. They did a couple of passes. This is one kind of up close, but the engine just had no trouble at all pulling that 8 bottom plow. And got the guys on there to drop the plow shears. Dropping them's not so hard. Raising them takes quite a bit of effort to pull them back out of the ground. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and see you in the next video.